Alright, go ahead, make the stupid joke. We're talking about 6/9 chords. Go ahead, I'll wait. I know you want to do it. Great. Okay, now we can continue like adults and talk about the most underrated chord on a guitar, the 6/9 chord. I never see people use this chord, and it's so good. We're going to talk about why it's so good, where you can use it, and how to play it. We're going to do this in the key of C to start off with, right? Classic. What's more classic than the key of C? Here it is. It is 3 on the A string, 2 on the D and G strings, and 3 on the B and E strings. How cool is that? When do you hear that? Maybe, if you're lucky, you hear that once in a great song. But did you know you can play them on any major chord, and we're going to talk about why. Okay, so in the key of C, we have 3 notes to make up a major chord, major triad, a C, an E, and a G. Okay, so those would be the 1, 3, and 5 in the C major scale, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So that's how you make a major chord. Now, to make a major 6 chord, it's really actually easy. I think that's also an underrated chord. You just add the 6th note away from C. C, D, E, F, G, A, right? So right there, we just get the 2nd fret on the G string, right? So, all right, make your G string joke. Go ahead, I'll wait. It's a very adult lesson today. Thank you. Hope you feel better now. 3, 2, 2. So that's kind of like a C major 6 chord. The 5th is implied. We'll talk about later. But now when we add your ring finger to the D on the B string, we get so much, right? It's like, I think it's the best part about what makes a suspended chord kind of cool, but in a major context, right? Like a suspended chord would be like 3, something like that, right? Or even just like in open position. I think suspended chords are really pretty. They are neither major nor minor. They're taking that 3rd and suspending it to either a 2 or a 4. So when we have like a 6/9, the 9 comes from that 2, okay? So in the key of C, I don't know why I put 5 fingers up. In the key of C, C is 1 and D is 2, right? Now, if it's a major chord, then it doesn't get suspended because we have that C, D, E in it. So we have a major 3rd in it. That's the giveaway right there. That diagonal down one is the dead giveaway. Just like the dead giveaway on my tone right now is this Gator Frameworks cable. This video is sponsored by Sweetwater and Gator specifically. Did you notice that no noise was made when I just ripped this from a live guitar tube amp? This is crazy. This is like, you've seen me do a couple videos on this hopefully before. If you haven't, this is the first one. This is the best cable on earth. I actually just went busking with this. There's a busking video coming out in a couple days, which is very entertaining in my estimation. And for live stuff, it's great. I need everything in my life dummy proofed, and having to remember when things are on and off is just simply too much for a man of my capabilities. So having a guitar cable that silently does that, usually get that like that terrible popping sound to do that, this is great. This is the invention of 2024 for me. There's gonna be an affiliate link in the description. They also make incredible mic cables. I've been gigging with their mic cables and their guitar cables for a while now. Huge fan of Gator. Also really helps support the channel if you order anything through my Sweetwater link. So thank you so much to Sweetwater for sponsoring the video and specifically hit it with, I just can't stop doing this. It's so good. Also get yourself the right angle ones. I was also anti-right angle for the longest time. I don't know why, especially on guitars like this. So much better. All right, so back to the 6/9. Also kind of a stupid name for it. We should just have a different name for it. Suspended chords get their own names. C6/9 doesn't have a great ring to it, but a great sound. So we've got the 1, the major 3, the 6, the 2, but since it's major and we have the 5th in here also, we kind of go past that octave range and make it a 9. Again, you know, musical stuff. If you want more information on naming chords and stuff, check out the Patreon or other YouTube videos. But there we go. 1, 3, 6, 9, 5 is kind of how we would talk about each of those in scale degree terms. Now, the cool thing about this is, what I think is also kind of interesting is when you take away the root note and you just get the bottom 4 notes, this is actually just the open strings on your guitar. E, A, D, G, E, A, D, G, right? Kind of like a little interesting thing, and that's why like by itself, it's just kind of nothing, right? But when you add the root note in front of there, it provides some context to it, to the harmony of that chord that I think is really interesting and very valuable in just kind of like playing songs, right? And my point earlier about taking any major chord, having the ability to turn it into a 6/9 chord, is going to be as followed, right? There are 3 major chords in any key. They occur on the 1, 4th, and 5th degrees. So in the key of C, C, D, E, F, and G. C, F, and G. I know you've all seen C, F, and G like that. We can do the same thing, but now replace them with C, 6/9, F, 6/9, G. Such a different vibe. And maybe, if you're looking to spice up a song that might have kind of like boring open chords, you can always replace them with the 6/9, right? Because all we're doing is we're taking a major chord and we're adding the 6 and the 9. The reason we can do that on all 3 major chords in a key is because what's different about the 4 chords position is it has a sharp 4, which is different than the major scale. And what's different about the 5 chords position is it has a flat 7. So 6 and a 9 are not a 4 or a 7. And hopefully all these numbers have not confused you, but that's why these work, okay? Now what I think is really cool is to maybe just replace one chord in a progression with this, just to kind of give it a little variety, a little spice. Spice up your life with the 6/9. That's what we're talking about here, C. Let's do something, let's still make it a little crazy. C major 7. To A minor 11, to F, to G. That's going to be our chord progression. 1 to a 6, to a 4, to a 5. Right, that sounds cool. Playing the A minor 11. Now the next time around, I'm going to go to that F 6/9, right? There's the 1 major 7, the 6, 11. And then back to there. Maybe I'll do both the F and the G as 6/9 chords. There's the C. And of course I played a couple wrong notes in there, but it doesn't matter because it all sounds gravy as long as you're playing it confidently, which is a skill that I've learned playing live shows. Whenever you play a live note, just pretend like you did it, or pretend like it never even happened, and no one will question about you because you've distracted them in a way that they never noticed in the first place. Little magic trick help for you right there. So just like kind of going around like that is something that I think is super beneficial for your guitar playing and your brain. I think, it really is funny. I'm shooting this video just on the heels of doing like a live busking performance out on the Santa Monica boardwalk. Again, that video is pretty funny. It's coming soon. But playing a lot of common or like modern songs, the thing about a lot of like modern pop songs, especially the stuff that people are going to request in public, or maybe stuff that you like to, no shade on anything, is a lot of times it's going to be one simple chord progression that doesn't ever change. It just goes over and over again. So if you're doing like maybe an acoustic guitar or a solo guitar accompaniment of something, you want to keep yourself interested, right? Something just like a 1-5-6-4 chord progression. And again, 1-5-6-4 in the key of C would be C, G, A minor, F, right? However you can make that kind of interesting to yourself is just a great exercise to try, right? So being able to kind of have just the wherewithal to be like, oh, an F chord? Let me throw down that 6/9 chord right there and just see how it plays, right? You know it's always going to be correct because you're always going to be inside the key as long as you're not doing any kind of funny business, leaving the key diatonically or something like that. it's always gonna hit. So it's good to have in your back pocket. Last thing I wanna do is I wanna just go through an entire chord scale with these as the major chords, just to kind of get the idea of how they link together with maybe some of the other stuff in this key, right? So what I mean by that is let's play the minor chords, right? So we already did C, F, and G. Well, in between the F and the G, we have D minor and E minor, right? So I'm gonna play them as bar chords. We could also play them as open chords if you want, but again, 5, 7, 7, 6 in the middle, and then same thing up 2 frets, and then keep the same shape, and then just move your hand all the way back, and play an A minor the classy way with your pointer finger open, so you can kind of point at people, let them know this is for you. That's for you, right? Classy. Now we can play all of the 6 major chords in the key, right? Even with these new kind of fancy ones. 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep it classy. Oh, maybe across the octave. And then one thing that is really cool to end is maybe take the bottom 4 without the root note. That'll leave a little bit of, I don't know, is tension the right word there? Resolve it with the major 1 chord, okay? So that's when you turn that crazy 6/9 chord into something like that, which is really, I think it's really interesting because if you have, it's a 5-note chord. You have, right, the 1, the 3. I'm gonna use fingers to designate different things. I'm gonna count off the different amount of notes, but say the numbers with my mouth. Totally different way. We've got the 1, the 3, the 5, the 6, and the 9. So we have 5 different notes. That's a pretty busy chord. There's a lot going on. There's not a lot of ways, on a guitar especially that only has 6 strings, to really properly utilize 5 different notes being played at once, right? A lot of times, like, you know, with like a regular major 6-note bar chord, we might be playing all 6 strings, but we're only playing 3 different notes. Again, major 7 chords, you have 4 different notes. That 5-note chord is somewhat elusive and I don't think really gets used enough on guitar, but I do think this voicing specifically of a 6/9 chord is something that I find super useful, very underused in general, and it's really not that hard to do. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like if you ever played Wonderwall, alright? Just take that and then just bar the D and G strings with your pointer finger. And then what you've just, I mean, listen, this is why, guys, this is why you come to the Sean Daniel YouTube channel. We turned Wonderwall into the classiest, no funny adult jokes about the 6/9 chord way to play guitar that you could ever possibly imagine. Where else can you get such fire tips like this? And where else can you get such fire tone than the Gator angled noiseless cable from Sweetwater? Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. The Headliner series is what these are called. They also have like less expensive cables that are just great. I recommend getting at least one solid elite Headliner cable and then, you know, just invest in the future from there. So that is the C6/9 chord that you use the 1, the 4, or the 5. Mix and match with the minor chords and other major chords, other extended chords, and then just have some fun playing guitar. Let me know what else you guys want to see. Any other kind of chord videos? I always love doing the chord videos the most because it's cool kind of coming up with like different contextual ways to play spicier chords. And yeah, let me know what you want to see next. Thank you again to Sweetwater and Gator for sponsoring the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.